I'm going to show you how to build a real estate cold caller from start to finish in this video. The idea is very simple. Right now, realtors have to manually cold call prospects, which are people who are putting their home up for sale, and ask them if they want to sell through a third-party brokerage. And this process is very cumbersome, right? Realtors don't really like cold calling. Nobody really likes to cold call. So we're going to build an AI cold caller that asks the prospect, are they interested in selling through a brokerage? If the answer is yes, then it transfers it to the realtor. If the answer is no, then it's going to end the call there. And if you want from there, you can save that in a database, in a record, whatever it is, to make sure that lead is up to date. Let's get started. The first thing is going to be the global prompt. And so I like to start here because this is basically the prompt that represents all the workflows we build, all the pathways we build. And so I'm going to say, you are Lisa, a realtor representing Realty, which is a fictional real estate firm. Your job is to determine whether the prospect wants to sell their home through a brokerage, right? And again, a brokerage is the realtor side. That's the company the realtor is representing. And for a sale to occur, the person who's selling the home must be willing to kind of work with the brokerage for this whole thing to happen in the first place. That's what we're trying to automate, right? To make that clear. So who wants to sell their home through a brokerage? I'm going to say third-party brokerage. And let's just say you are kind, concise, and to the point, right? Really, this is like a less than 30-second call here. We're just going to call the person, ask them if they want to sell through the brokerage, and accordingly just route them through, right? So, I mean, obviously it doesn't seem like much, but when you're calling like, 100 people per day and you realize that 25 of them are even interested in selling through a brokerage, that's 75 calls of time that you've saved for that real estate agent, right? That's the main value here. So that's the high level prompt here. Like, this is not confirmed or anything. I'm going to work through this with you guys and show you the iterative process here, but this is a good start, right? We'll adjust this as we're testing it out and you'll see. So I'm going to click save here. I'm going to end this. What is this? I'm going to delete this, start node. So there's going to be a default node, right? Nothing crazy here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, hey there, how are you doing? Yeah, that's pretty good, right? Hi, how are you doing? Just keep it super simple here, right? And you're going to notice, I mean, it's a small nuance. It's really simple, but we can go either static text or prompt. The reason why we want static text is because just like real cold call scripts, the person says the same thing over and over again with cold outreach. It doesn't matter whether the AI says, hey, how are you doing? Or hi, how are you doing? Or hey, how's your day going? Like, yes, we can do those variations, but that's just another point of failure for this whole LLM and like another area where it can slow itself down. We're just like, it doesn't really matter what the greeting is. We're just trying to get the conversation going to show or like make it seem somewhat like it's a human. That's why it's a static text and that's why it's really simple here, right? So nothing crazy there. Loop condition. So, hypothetically, you could add a loop condition here and like force the prospect, force the person on the other line to give you an answer of how they're doing, where I can have that condition. A loop condition's like, until this condition's met, I don't continue on. And in this case, like, do not continue until we get the answer to the question, how are you doing? We're just trying to get straight to the point here. So we're gonna leave that blank. Global node, like, it's a very small workflow. So in terms of jumping between nodes, like, let's say we ask a question, do we really want to go back to this hi, how are you doing automatically? Like, that's why it's called global. It doesn't matter for us. So I'm going to leave that off. Advanced options. So I'm going to switch this to a higher speed model because it's really straightforward to say this. And even to answer and like process this question, there's no thinking involved. So I'm just trying to like get through it, right? I hope you're seeing that. That's kind of like the general theme with cold calling in general, trying to book the next call. And like same idea here, right? We're trying to just transfer that call to the realtor if the person is a fit. So that's that. Temperature, we'll leave it at 0.2. I like to keep it between 0.2 and 0.5. That's like the probability of a different word, like the variation of the word changing. And it's just like another word for creativity. It doesn't really matter. In this case, we'll keep it at 0.2. And I'll show you how to kind of play with that in a bit. But that's that. Let's save this and test this out. So test pathway. Hi, how are you doing? Like, good. And it's just going to do the same thing, right? Because we haven't done anything else. So that's step one here. Next step is going to be to add a new node. It's going to be default node. And I'm going to connect these two together. And I'm going to call this qualifying question. And actually, I'm going to make this a little more descriptive. I'm going to say determine if want to sell through brokerage. And I'm going to say here, so here's a nuance here, right? I don't want to do static text, and let me show you why. If I just say, do you want to sell your home through a brokerage? Let's just say I do this, right? And this just for example here. and it's connected. We're good. Like user responded. That's fine. I'm gonna test this pathway. And let's say the person calls and says, "Hi, how are you doing?" And then like the prospect says, "Good. And you?" And then the response we get is, "Do you want to sell your home through a brokerage?" Right? That's no bueno. We don't want that. We want it to be a little more conversational, feel more human-like. So that is why we would not include a static text over here. It should be dynamic. I'm just gonna say, ask the prospect if they want to sell through a third-party brokerage, and we can just say, give a quick intro as well. You don't need this, but it's fine. And now you'll notice the difference. Advanced options, we'll keep this at higher intelligence, and point 2 is fine. Let's see how this does. I'm gonna test the pathway. I'm gonna say, "Hi, how are you doing?" Good, and you? And you're gonna notice it's gonna say, "I am doing great," right? Like that's a little more human-like. It's really small, but it's really simple. I'm not trying to overcomplicate this. Right, "I'm doing great, thank you. My name is Lisa. I'm a realtor with Realty." That's perfect. "I'm calling today because I understand you might be considering selling your home. Can I ask, are you selling through a third-party brokerage, or would you like to explore other options?" From here, it's really simple. It's either yes or no for this workflow. I'm gonna show you something, and it's gonna mess up, but you're gonna notice this is gonna be pretty common with your not workflows, your pathways here. If I just hook this up to the next node, and let's just say route call to a real person, and then we can just say we'll keep this dynamic because it'll kind of depend on their response, but it's a general yes. We're gonna say thank the user for, actually we'll just say I'm going to route the user to Jeeth, an experienced realtor, right? And so this is I actually messed this up. This should be a transfer call node, and route the user to Jeeth, an experienced realtor. Transfer number, I'm not gonna put the number on here for obvious reasons, but I'm gonna click save. And I want you to notice something here. If I click test here, and I click test pathway, "Hi, how are you doing?" Good. You know, we get our cookie cutter response here. And if I say, the question is if you've considered selling your home through a third-party brokerage, if I say, "Why do you ask?" Notice what happens. I'm gonna let one of my colleagues, Jeeth, take over the call. He's an experienced realtor, and that's the prompt over here, right? We jumped from here to here, but we didn't get an answer on if they want to sell through a third-party brokerage, right? Which is not good, because it's essentially just like transferring the call without knowing the answer to the qualification question. They might as well just cold call every single prospect, right? Like the whole point of this thing is to get an answer. You already know this. So the reason why I skipped is because we did not tell it that it must give an answer, and that's where the loop condition comes in. So I'm gonna say, ensure you know the answer to whether the prospect wants to sell their home through a third-party brokerage. And let's try this. I'm gonna click save and test pathway. We're gonna say I'm doing good. What do you mean, right? Just say something that's not gonna answer the question. When I say third-party brokerage, I mean working with a real estate company like mine to sell your home rather than trying to sell it on your own or using a different type of service. Notice, we didn't get an answer to the original question. It did not move in and transfer me to me in this case, right? It stayed on that block until we got an answer, which is super, super important. So I would personally say don't just rely on that loop condition here because it sometimes doesn't work properly. What I would recommend is over here, you can just say, yes, the user wants to sell their home through a brokerage. Click save. Save that. And yeah, that should be good right there. And so like the opposite case of this is to just end the call there. So I'm just gonna click end call, connect this node here, end call node, thank the user for their time, and wish them goodbye, right? Say goodbye. It doesn't really matter. Advanced options. Let's make this higher speed. Global node doesn't matter. Let's click save. And so here we're gonna say, no, the user does not want to sell their home. I think that's the wrong there. Through a third-party brokerage. And I'm gonna copy this here. Click save. And if I run through this now, you're gonna notice, hi, how are we doing? Very well. And you, sir, right? It's a Lisa, I think, but whatever. I'm doing great. Thank you. My name is Lisa. I'm a realtor with Realty. I'm calling today. Blah, 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 blah. Can I ask, are you thinking of selling your property through a third-party brokerage? Why, yes. Why do you ask, right? I'll be happy to help you with that. Let me transfer you to one of our experienced realtors, Jeeth, and he'll be able to assist you with your further selling needs, right? And let's do the other way just to show you guys, right? It's pretty simple. Good. No, I am not. Stop calling me. Something like that. Thank you for your time, and I apologize if I've disturbed you. Goodbye, and the call is ended, right? Yeah, we're down here, and we're good. So that is how you build something out. You know, it's really simple, as you can see here. Yeah. And now for a quick demo, just to show you guys what we've built in action here. Waiting for the call.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. Who is this?
My name is Lisa, and I'm a realtor with Realty. I'm calling today because I understand you might be considering selling your home. Can I ask, are you thinking of selling your property through a third-party brokerage?
I actually am planning on selling it through a brokerage.
I'm going to transfer you to one of our experienced realtors, Jeet, who can assist you further with the process. He'll be able to answer any questions you may have and guide you through the selling process. Please hold for just a moment while I transfer the call.
And just like that, complete real estate cold caller from start to finish. If you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.